Okay, so today we're going to try to really get deep into this whole Grameen Bank thing, right?
Yeah.
And kind of like see where it all started.
Yeah, I mean it's really quite a story when you think about it.
It
It's
is.
like, just this one guy kind of noticing something and then it turning into this like huge global thing.
Right.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, and we're going right to the source for this deep dive.
Yeah, straight from the horse's mouth, as they say.
Right.
We've got Muhammad Yunus, banker to the poor, microlending, and the battle against world poverty.
Right. And for those of you listening who really just want to get to the heart of it,
Yeah.
like the real key moments, the crazy insights and stuff,
For sure.
without having to, wade through a whole book,
Yeah.
you've come to the right place.
This is it.
We've got you covered.
We've done the heavy lifting.
Thank
You
you.
can just sit back and absorb.
Yeah, so the big question is how did this whole Grameen Bank thing even get started?
Yeah, where did it come from?
Right,
Huh?
what were those early roadblocks?
Yeah, what were the big ideas that kind of took root right at the beginning?
Totally. And I gotta say, I mean, the book starts off with this image that is just seared into my brain.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're right there facing the worst of famine.
Yeah, it through
People
it.
so desperate they're just lying down on doorsteps waiting to die.
Just giving up.
And you really get this gut punch sense of just how urgent the problem is.
Yeah.
No rice, no milk, basic stuff, just completely missing.
Even though, like, globally, there's plenty to go around.
Right. It's like this crazy distribution problem.
Right.
And the thing that really struck me was how it shows traditional systems just failing completely.
Yeah.
Leaving these people totally powerless.
Right, like nothing's working for them.
Exactly. And it just sets the stage for why Grameen even exists.
Totally. It's not some, ivory tower theory.
Right.
This is a response to a real, in-your-face crisis.
Exactly. And so from there, the story shifts to his own background.
Yeah, his personal story.
Which is so fascinating because you start to see how those early experiences kind of shaped his whole worldview.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
So we learn about his childhood during the partition of Pakistan in 1947.
Wow.
He was only 7 at the time.
7 years old.
Can you imagine that kind of upheaval?
I mean, it's like your whole world is changing.
Right. And for you listening, the interesting part is that even at that age,
Yeah.
he's talking about family discussions,
Wow.
different opinions about the creation of Pakistan, even noticing the weird geography of it all.
That's so interesting.
Right, split in 2 parts, separated by India.
So bizarre.
Yeah, and then there's that story about his little brother.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
With the sugar?
Yeah, Jinnah sugar and Gandhi sugar.
I know.
White sugar versus brown sugar.
It's just such a, simple but powerful image, right?
Yeah.
Of how, politics was just seeping into every corner of their lives, even as kids.
Yeah, you can imagine how, all-encompassing those movements were,
Right.
touching everything.
And his father was in the Muslim League National Guard.
No way!
Yeah, he even remembers him, wearing his uniform on the night Pakistan became independent.
Oh.
Such a clear memory of national pride.
You can feel it.
Right. And then there's this more, personal and difficult part
Yeah.
about his mother's mental illness.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
And the fact that they didn't really have a diagnosis back then.
And the desperation,
Right. His father trying anything to cure her, even, unorthodox stuff.
Yeah, you really get a sense of the limitations of medicine at that time.
Totally. And also the emotional toll,
Yeah, the burden on families.
even with all this huge historical stuff happening,
Yeah,
these very personal struggles are still there.
right. Life goes on.
Yeah. And you also see, early signs of his curiosity, even as a kid.
Oh, yeah, like that spark.
Yeah, the photography with his brother, Salam,
Oh, yeah.
experimenting with that box camera.
So cool.
Even getting to a dark room.
Wait, they had a dark room.
Yeah, this place called the Mystery House Studio.
That is the best name.
I know, right?
Love it.
And they were even trying to do, color retouching.
Wow, so ahead of their time.
And for you listening, the interesting thing here is, that collaborative spirit
Yeah.
and that hands-on way of learning,
Totally figuring stuff out by doing it. It's like a natural instinct to explore.
Yeah, and he loved painting and drawing, too.
No way.
Yeah, he even apprenticed with a commercial artist.
Wow.
He called him Ustad,
Cool.
but he had to keep all his artwork secret from his father
What? Why?
because of his religious beliefs against depicting humans.
Oh, wow.
So it shows this, inner drive,
Yeah.
even when it clashed with family stuff.
Totally, like navigating different perspectives.
Right. And so jump ahead to 1972.
Okay.
He's back in a newly independent Bangladesh.
Fresh start.
Right.
Mm.
But his first job in the Planning Commission,
Oh.
he describes it as like soul-crushingly boring, just reading newspapers all day. So for you, like, it's interesting to think, why was he so bored in this like powerful position?
Yeah, what was missing?
Right.
It's like a turning point, you know?
Yep.
He's clearly looking for something more meaningful, something with impact.
Exactly. So he quits and takes a job at Chittagong University,
As an economics professor?
right, heading the department.
Wow.
And even there, he immediately starts shaking things up.
Really?
He turned his big private office into a common room for everyone.
I love that.
But the staff were like super uncomfortable.
Awkward.
Right? It just shows you the culture back then.
Yeah.
And his push for like a more collaborative thing, you know?
Yeah, less hierarchy.
Right. And then comes the 3-share farm experiment.
Okay, this is a big one.
Yeah, it was supposed to be about like improving agriculture.
Yeah.
But it unexpectedly revealed just how bad things were for the poorest.
Especially the women.
Right. Especially the women threshing rice.
Back-breaking work.
Yeah. And for almost nothing.
Yeah.
No land, no assets.
And the thing you should really take away from this is that, like, giving them capital,
Right.
not just like teaching them skills,
Yeah.
was the key
Totally.
to actually empowering them.
And there's this one woman who asks him this question that just like stops him in his tracks.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
She's like, after weeks of threshing, we have nothing to show for ourselves.
It's so powerful.
Right. It's like all that labor and nothing to build on.
Yeah, just scraping by.
And that's when he really starts to like redefine what poverty even means.
Okay.
He's looking at income assets where they live their jobs, their religion, gender, age.
Wow.
It's this whole multi-dimensional thing.
Which is huge.
Right.
It's not just about money. It's
Right.
this whole web of disadvantage.
Exactly. And he's particularly focused on the people with like zero chance of improving.
Yeah, like the rice threshers, the stool makers, the traders, stuck with insane interest rates.
And just to clarify for you listening,
Yeah.
we're not talking like normal interest
No.
rates. These are predatory rates designed to keep people trapped.
Yeah, you can never get ahead.
Right. And then there's the whole challenge of like even interacting with the women.
Right, because of Purdah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, Purdah is like this custom in some Muslim communities
Yeah.
where women are kind of segregated and often cover themselves in public.
Yeah. It makes things tricky.
So he's having to communicate through bamboo walls or curtains.
Wow.
Building trust was like a whole other hurdle.
For sure.
There's even the story of a kid who like bursts into tears and runs back to his mom
Oh, no.
when he tries to talk to him.
It just shows you how strong the social norms were
Right.
and how careful they had to be
Exactly.
to build trust.
And then comes this like tiny loan.
The first one.
Yeah, just $27
Wow.
to a woman named Maimuna.
Okay.
And she lends it out to 42 other villagers.
What?
Yeah, no interest they could repay whenever.
That's incredible.
And you know what's amazing is how this tiny amount
Yeah.
had this huge impact.
It's crazy, right?
They could finally break free from those exploitative traders.
It's like this tiny seed that grows into something huge.
Yeah, and it totally challenges how we think about banking.
Right. Like, it's not about maximizing profit.
Totally. It's about trust and empowering people.
Right. And believing in them.
Exactly.
They'll repay.
And he talks about this sleepless night he had afterwards,
Oh, yeah.
filled with shame.
Gene.
Yeah, that it took him so long to realize this.
Yeah.
That such a small thing could be so powerful.
That's so profound.
And he also realized that like one-off charity wasn't enough.
Right. It's not sustainable.
So that's when he decides to create a bank for the poor.
The birth of Grameen.
Exactly.
Like, that night was the turning point.
Right.
From charity to systemic change.
And then there's this story of Mufia,
Oh, Mufia.
which is just so sad.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it shows you how deeply entrenched poverty and abuse can be.
Yeah, that cycle is hard to break.
She even gets a loan and starts trading bamboo,
Okay.
like a glimpse of hope.
Yeah.
But then she's forced back into begging.
Oh, no.
It's just a reminder that you need like consistent support.
Yeah, not just a one-time thing.
Right. And so to handle the repayments for these early loans,
Yeah.
he came up with this super simple system
Okay.
using the local pan seller.
The pan seller.
Yeah, in Jobra Village
Interesting.
as like the collection point.
So it's embedded in the community.
Right.
So smart.
Yeah. But even that ran into problems.
Really?
The checkmark system wasn't working.
Oh, no.
Borrowers claiming the pan seller missed their payments.
Classic.
Right, so they switched to weekly repayments.
Which they still use today.
Yeah, in a modified form.
It's amazing how those early hiccups shaped the whole thing.
And then there's this whole thing about lending to women.
Oh, yeah.
He goes to these bank managers,
Yeah.
and the discrimination is just shocking.
It's awful.
Even wealthy women needed their husband's permission.
Seriously.
Yeah, totally different from men.
It's unbelievable.
And get this, less than 1% of borrowers in Bangladesh were women.
Before Grameen.
Before Grameen.
Wow.
So they're really going against the grain here.
Big time.
And because of PERTA, they had to get creative with communication.
Right?
Using go-betweens, even overhearing conversations.
Through bamboo walls?
Yeah.
That's dedication.
And shows how committed they were to reaching these women.
Yeah.
And then there's the story of Nurjahan.
Oh, yeah, the new worker.
Yeah, her first assignment was this case study
Okay.
of a destitute woman named Amajan Amina.
Interesting choice.
Right. And the reason behind it was brilliant.
What was it?
It was to immerse her in the reality of poverty,
Yeah.
but also to see if she could connect with the poor.
Without relying on notes.
Right, like no formal process, just human connection.
It's such a powerful way to train someone.
And amidst all of this, there are these moments of, like, personal reflection.
Yeah.
He talks about this Eid celebration
Oh, yeah.
at Niribali in 1977.
Okay.
This sense of family and happiness.
Yeah.
And he's, like, so grateful for their good fortune.
It's a nice contrast to the poverty he's seeing.
Right.
It's like a reminder of what he's fighting for.
Exactly. And then he gets this, like, harsh criticism from a government official. Yeah. He's accused of, like, failing his social duty.
Wow.
And the official just rips into the whole banking system,
What does he say?
calling it corrupt and saying they ignore the poor.
Yeah. It shows you the resistance they were facing.
Totally, like, entrenched skepticism.
Yeah, a real uphill battle.
But then there are these crucial moments of support,
Okay.
like this phone call with Annie Suzeman, the chairman of BKB.
Yeah.
He gets some initial backing for the project.
Thank goodness.
Right. And right after that call, he sees this street sweeper.
Oh, wow.
So impoverished.
It's like a reminder of who they're serving.
Right. And it just fuels his determination.
Yeah,
And those early days were chaotic,
I bet.
volatile political climate.
Yeah.
And get this, he recruited some former leftist guerrillas.
Whoa!
Yeah, Gunobahini members.
For those of you listening, the Gonabahinis were like this armed group in the 70s
Right.
fighting for revolution.
And they end up working on microlending.
What a turn of events.
Right. And it actually works.
Really?
Yeah, their energy and dedication.
It's like they found a new cause.
Right. And the training program for Grameen workers was super unique.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
They were trained to be poverty fighters.
How's that?
Right, not just like loan officers.
Totally different mindset.
And most of them only had 2 years of college.
Okay.
But the competition for these jobs was insane.
Really?
Families were selling stuff, borrowing money just to afford the interview trip.
Wow, that shows you how valuable those jobs were.
And despite lower salaries, they had this amazing commitment.
Yeah.
Strong traditional values, low turnover.
It wasn't just about the money for them.
Right. It was
Yeah.
about the mission.
Yeah.
And they really emphasized problem solving.
That's so important.
Yeah. And of course, there was resistance.
Oh, yeah. Tons of it.
Crazy rumors being spread.
Like what?
Forced conversion to Christianity, women being sold into slavery, bad Muslims even being thrown into the ocean.
Oh, my God.
It's wild.
It shows you the fear.
Right. The moneylenders and others felt threatened.
Yeah, their whole system was being disrupted.
And they specifically targeted women like Maharani Das, Muhammad Kuti Begum, Muhammad Manijan Bibi.
It's awful.
Yeah, but the women fought back.
They did.
There's this amazing story of them confronting the mullah
Wow.
who was spreading rumors,
Go get her.
and they actually convinced him to invite the bank manager back.
That's incredible.
Right, these women had no other options.
Yeah, they were desperate for this to work.
And to address the concerns about interest being forbidden,
Right, the Sharia ban.
Islamic scholars came up with this argument
Okay.
that since the borrowers were also owners,
Yeah.
any interest paid was benefiting them.
So it's not exploitation.
Right, it's more like a collective thing.
Yeah, a shared benefit.
And their strategy was to just work quietly, let the success speak for itself.
War.
Yeah. And then comes the formalization of Grameen Bank.
The big leagues.
Right, they get this legal help from Hossein,
Okay.
and they propose this ownership structure.
What was it?
60% borrowers, 40% government.
Sounds fair.
But then the president flips it.
Oh, no.
60% government, 40% borrowers.
That's a betrayal.
Yeah, it was a huge blow.
But it actually led to them becoming independent later.
Right, so it's like this weird twist.
Yeah.
And once they got independence, in October 1983,
things took off.
They expanded like crazy.
Wow.
The training methods were working.
Yeah.
The lending model was proving itself.
It's like they had this moment of like validation.
Totally.
It's working.
And they were able to reach so many more people.
Without the government breathing down their necks.
Right. But they still had to fight to protect the managing director's position.
From political interference.
Right. They tried to change the law.
To make it harder to remove him.
Yeah, but it was tough.
Bureaucracy is a beast.
And then they started offering new types of loans.
Okay, like what?
Housing loans.
Wow.
Yeah, starting small.
Even though the central bank had a bigger plan.
Right. They were recognizing the broader needs of their borrowers.
Yeah, like they'd proven themselves.
Exactly.
So let's give them more options.
And the impact on family planning was huge.
Really?
Adoption rates were twice the national average.
That's amazing.
Lower birth rates, too.
You gotta wonder why more agencies don't promote microcredit for this.
Right.
It's a powerful tool.
And they had these annual workshops for the center leaders.
Cool.
Where they could problem solve together.
That's so empowering.
Right. And they'd formalize their resolutions.
Wow.
Giving them real ownership.
Yeah.
And Yunus is pretty critical of traditional poverty programs.
Oh, yeah.
He thinks they focus too much on skills training.
Okay.
He's like, the poor don't lack skills, they lack capital.
Right. And the system is biased towards people with capital.
Exactly.
It's like rigged.
And he tells this story about confronting the World Bank president.
No way.
Yeah, Barbara Conable.
What happened?
Conable claimed the World Bank was supporting Grameen.
Oh, no.
But it wasn't true.
Busted.
And Yunus explained why they'd rejected World Bank funding.
Yeah, because of their approach.
Right. Too much interference?
Yeah.
They even turned down a $200 million loan.
Wow.
It shows you how committed they were to their own way.
Yeah, independence was key.
And he makes this interesting observation about big aid institutions.
It's that.
He thinks they prioritize large projects.
Okay.
Not because they're the most effective,
But because
it allows them to spend money quickly
nice.
and get promotions.
It's a cynical view, but maybe true
Yeah.
from his experience.
And when asked what he'd do as World Bank president,
Yeah.
he said he'd move their headquarters to Dhaka.
To Bangladesh.
Yeah, to be closer to the reality of poverty.
Powerful statement.
Right. A symbolic gesture. And then he has this great meeting with the American press.
Okay.
Even a speakerphone call with editorial writers.
Cool.
It shows how Grameen was gaining global attention.
Yeah, breaking out of Bangladesh.
But there was this initial misunderstanding.
About what?
People thought microcredit was about helping small businesses
Oh, I shoot.
who would then hire the poor.
Yeah.
But Yunus is like, no, it's about lending directly to the poor.
For self-employment.
Right.
It's a different paradigm.
And there was skepticism about whether it could work outside Bangladesh.
Right.
But then a positive report came out from CARD in the Philippines,
Okay.
showing it could be adapted.
That's huge.
Right. And early replicators had trouble getting funding.
Yeah.
Yunus told them to focus on local sources.
Smart.
Yeah, build that ownership.
And then there's this amazing story of a woman at a presentation
Yeah.
who just offers to fund replication.
I know, it's incredible.
Just like that.
She was so inspired.
The power of belief.
And to help with replication, they created the Grameen Dialogue Program
Okay.
with field visits discussions, a process for applying for seed money.
Very organized.
Yeah, their goal was to reach 10 million borrowers by 2005.
Ambitious.
And then there's this funny story of a guy who criticizes Grameen.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, I got loans at 2% interest,
Oh.
implying Grameen wasn't that special.
Yeah.
But Yunus takes it as inspiration.
What does he do?
He creates the PKSF,
What's that?
the Polykarma Sahayak Foundation,
Okay.
to offer low interest rates to other microcredit programs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, turning criticism into action.
Oh, so good.
And they launched the People's Fund
Oh.
to encourage small donations from around the world
Yeah.
to support microcredit.
So people could get involved directly.
Right. And they created Grameen Foundation USA to manage it.
Wow, it's going global.
And then interest starts to build in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, it starts with Bill Clinton when he was governor of Arkansas.
Ah.
Thanks to Jan Piercy and Ron Grzyzewski and Mary Houghton.
The Chicago bankers.
Right. And Yunus meets with the Clintons and Ron and Mary.
Wow.
And then he goes to Arkansas.
Okay.
But at first he's meeting with like established business owners.
Not the right people.
Right. He wants to help the really poor.
Yeah.
But then he finally meets with a group of people in poverty.
Oh.
And at first there's this silence.
When he asks about their aspirations.
Yeah, but then through his questioning,
Yeah.
ideas start to emerge.
Like what?
Self-employment, small businesses.
Cool.
It showed that even in America, people had that entrepreneurial spirit.
Just hidden.
And there's this story of a Native American woman
Okay.
who wants to sell potted plants.
Awesome.
Just give her the credit, and she's ready to go.
Love it.
And Ron and Mary had this vision for urban America.
Okay.
They'd been working with South Shore Bank in Chicago.
Right. Lending to people traditional banks ignored.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the Ford Foundation asked them to assess Grameen, solidifying their commitment to replicating it in Chicago.
That's a game changer.
But when Yunus goes to Chicago in 1985, everyone's skeptical
What?
about whether the Bengali experience was relevant to the U.S.
Oh, right. They thought it was too different.
They're like, America needs jobs, training, social services, not microloans.
Classic.
But they go ahead and launch the Full Circle Fund anyway
Okay.
in inner-city Chicago.
Bold move.
And it defies the advice that the 5-woman group model wouldn't work.
Yeah, they said it wouldn't translate.
And it's a success.
It's incredible.
The peer support system works.
Yeah, it's a universal thing.
And they even had parties to help form groups.
That's so creative.
And the borrowers came up with amazing businesses.
Like what?
Selling coffee cake,
Yeah.
making storytelling tapes, designing clothes.
Wow, just like in Bangladesh.
Right.
That ingenuity.
And then in 1991, there's this setback in Bangladesh.
Okay, what happened?
The new government forgives small loans,
Okay.
but only from government banks.
Oh, so Grameen was excluded?
Yeah. And it caused all this confusion and resentment because Grameen borrowers had similar-sized loans,
Yeah.
but they weren't forgiven.
That's so unfair.
It was a tough situation.
Yeah.
And Grameen had to explain that they were self-sufficient.
Right. Different rules.
And throughout the 90s, they extended their loan programs.
Okay.
Seasonal loans, tubo loans, family loans, equipment leasing.
Wow. Giving them more options.
Right. And Yunus keeps emphasizing his belief
Yeah.
that poverty is created by society, not by the poor themselves.
It's a powerful message.
Right. And he's like, give them capital and they'll thrive.
They don't need handouts.
Exactly. They need opportunity.
And unfortunately, the Grameen Fisheries Project didn't work out.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
What happened?
Natural disasters, bureaucratic resistance.
Oh, no.
It shows the challenges of large-scale projects.
Yeah. Sometimes they're just too complex.
But Grameen Dog was a success.
Oh, okay. What was that?
They linked handloom weavers with the garment industry,
Cool.
acting as a middleman
So smart.
to ensure quality in delivery.
Yeah.
And then there's the amazing story of Grameen Phone.
Okay. I've heard of this.
Yeah, it starts with Khalid Islam and Iqbal Qadir.
Okay.
They had this vision of bringing cell phones to villages,
Wow.
and they create Grameen Phone for profit
Yeah.
and Grameen Telecom nonprofit.
Okay.
And they have this village payphone model,
Cool.
empowering women to become telephone ladies,
I love
connecting their villages to the world.
That's revolutionary.
And the impact was huge.
Yeah.
Bangladesh had terrible phone infrastructure.
Right.
But Grameen Phone became the biggest mobile company in South Asia.
That's insane.
And despite having fewer phones,
Yeah.
the village phones had way more airtime usage.
It shows how much people needed it.
Right. And they even talk about turning those telephone ladies
Yeah.
into like communication hubs.
With fax, email, even ATMs.
Right. And they were developing a cyber kiosk prototype.
It's like they're always thinking ahead.
And then there's the Grameen Health Program, offering affordable health care
Yeah.
through a small annual premium.
Cool.
And they had eye camps for cataract surgery.
That's amazing.
And by this point, Grameen is huge.
Yeah.
Thousands of branches,
Mm-hmm.
tens of thousands of villages,
Wow.
tons of staff, billions of dollars in loans,
Mind-blowing.
and a 98% repayment rate.
That's incredible.
And they're financially self-reliant,
Yeah.
funding 90% of their loans from their own resources.
It's a model of sustainability.
And then they developed the Grameen General System.
TGS.
Simplify things.
Okay.
They have a basic loan and a flexible loan
Okay.
as like a safety net.
Sure.
And it encourages staff creativity.
To find the best solutions.
Right. And it's all about customizing to the borrower's needs.
Yeah, that's so important.
And Grameen Bank Tees is built on this system.
Okay.
It's like the next evolution of microcredit.
Wow.
So it's been quite a journey.
It has.
From those stark images of poverty
Yeah.
to these incredible
It's
solutions.
inspiring.
And we've learned so much
Yeah.
about his personal journey,
Yeah.
the challenges they faced,
Yeah.
the power of small loans.
It's amazing how much one person can accomplish.
Right. And the takeaway